Phil lock, and it messes with my. When I start with Phil, it's like can't even, it's like you're there, it's micro magnesium. It's like
micro magnesium.
Crazy.
Speaking of magnesium,
Speaking of magnesium.
If you have a strip of magnesium and you light it, it will go out very quickly because it super consumes nitrogen. But if you feed it a continuous stream of nitrogen, the magnesium actually stays lit.
Okay, we've got a raise and a re-raise.
Then you have a flare of, if you can keep feeding nitrogen into a tube, the flame will never go out as long as nitrogen keeps getting fed, because magnesium burns through nitrogen, not oxygen.
What a story.
I just love the line, speaking of magnesium.
Speaking of magnesium.
Pre-flop, this is the classic strong versus speculative clash you get all the time in deep cash games. The flop is about as good as it gets for Negreanu. He smashes it with top set on a relatively dry board, while Vanessa has only ace-high with backdoor hearts and a few runner-runner straight possibilities. When she checks, Negreanu fires 4,500, a sizing that keeps his range wide and lets worse hands continue. Vanessa's call is a float plus equity. She is not beating much yet, but her hand can improve on a lot of turns. She picks up the nut flush draw, so now her ace-9 has real equity against all of Negreanu's value range. She checks again, and Negreanu keeps telling the story with a 9,200 barrel. From his perspective, he still wants calls from overpairs, and exactly the kind of strong draws Vanessa now has. Her second call is mandatory. She is getting a good price, has 15 outs against an overpair, and can potentially bluff rivers if checked to. The river bricks everything for her and quietly locks up the pot for Negreanu. When she checks a third time, Negreanu goes for full value with a 28,000 bet, polarizing his range to monsters and bluffs.
Really? God, I really don't know what to do here. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Vanessa folds.
Nice hand.
I'm so curious what you had there.
I really didn't believe you.
Huh? Nice
I'm
fold.
so curious
Not
what
very
you
much.
had.
Not very much.
Nice fold. 20 seconds though and shift it in.
Shipped it in.
Is that what? That's what I should have done. That would have been the.
No, I'm serious.
It's gonna fold 3 jacks.
You didn't have to.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at ace-jack offsuit.
Playing mean now. No position. Es muy importante. See? Oh,
Don't tell him.
You have the position already. Don't waste it. Use it.
I think the
It's an advantage for you.
I think the driver's coming out.
Is the driver? Well, you don't have to use the driver. You can lay up. You can lay up once in your life, Sergio. Use a 3-wood sometime. Keep it in the fairway. No. Okay, see? In the fairway.
3-wood.
Lay up.
He's gonna lay up?
Lay up.
Pre-flop, this is one of those quiet, small pot spots that Negreanu loves to turn into a clinic. The flop lands better for Negreanu than for Sergio as expected. Negreanu flops second pair, top kicker on a dryish texture. When Negreanu checks, it is that trademark Negreanu pot control, undeuce line. With a hand that is often best but not thrilled to play for 3 streets on this board, the turn bricks for both of them, but a lot of Sergio's potential floats or random overcards are now drawing thin, and Negreanu's jacks are now beating even more of Sergio's range. After the check on the flop, Negreanu seizes the initiative and fires 150,000. This is a classic delayed continuation bet. He represents a king, a jack, or even a slow-played monster while targeting exactly the sort of hand Sergio has, a stubborn one-pair bluff catcher that does not want to fold immediately. Sergio's call with 8s reflects that thinking. The river is horrible for Sergio's range and beautiful for Negreanu's story. All the big card stuff Negreanu represents has either stayed ahead or improved, and a bunch of draws get there too. When Negreanu bets 225,000 into a swollen pot, it is a very credible value bet, and it also leverages the fact that Sergio's line caps him around exactly what he has, a medium-strength pair that hates its life.
I hit something, but I lose with so many hands. Fold.
Good fold.
See, if you hit driver before the flop, you'd be out of the tournament.
He said fold.
Yeah. Yeah. If you hit driver, you would be out. No good. No good.
Yeah, I know. I got to imagine.
You would have been out.
Showed an 8.
If you hit the driver,
Daniel shows ace jack.
you laid up, and now you still have a chance to, you know, compete in the tournament.
To play the next hole.
See, I'm already coaching you on your golf game.
I laid up, but still have a chance to play the next hole.
Yes, exactly, right? But if you would have hit it OB or put it in the water, you're finished.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at pocket sixes. Pre-flop, everything is completely routine and quietly sets up a nasty river spot. Negreanu opens the standard with his image and stack. Seaver flats on the button with Jack 8, a classic see a flop in position hand. Brunson comes along from the blinds getting a good price, fishing for the flush draw flop. No one is getting out of line here, but the pot is already multi-way, which means post-flop decisions have to respect the extra player and the extra strength that implies.
I'd like to see a king, 9, and a 7, with the 9 of clubs and the 7 of clubs.
On this flop, Negreanu's sixes are in that awkward but very profitable c-bet zone.
Pretty close.
A second pair that wants value from worse pairs and draws, and badly wants to deny equity to overcards and random backdoors. His 5,500 bet does both. Seaver's call with top pair and backdoors is very standard. He's ahead of all Negreanu's bluffs and a chunk of his thin value range, and he has position. The turn is a classic range card for Negreanu and a pretty gross one for his actual hand. It improves his perceived range, but it also means his pocket sixes are now squarely in bluff catcher territory. Still, once Brunson checks, Negreanu's second barrel for 11,000 is logically consistent. He can still get value from smaller pairs and flush draws, and he represents all the strong queens that Seaver has far fewer of. The river is the card that flips the script completely. Every obvious draw bricks, the clubs miss, weird straight ideas miss, but Seaver's actual hand improves to top 2, and a lot of his sticky call twice holdings improve or stay comfortably ahead of sixes. Negreanu's check on the river is good gain flow. After bet into resistance, checking says, I have exactly a medium hand that is done betting, and invites Seaver to polarize. Seaver does exactly that with a 40,000 bet. From Negreanu's perspective, that sizing coming after 2 calls in a 3-way pot is screaming value. If Seaver wanted to turn a missed club draw into a bluff, he could choose a smaller size to fold out Negreanu's ace highs and 5x, 8x.
Weird. It's kind of it's a cool hand, man. Whatever you got, it's fun. I like it. Good stuff. Good job. Well done.
Only if you make the wrong decision.
I'm trying to figure out what you have. Okay, so I'm going to go over it right here. Okay. There's a lot of draws to like missed, right? There's like 6 sevens, there's like 3 4s, clubs, all kinds. Like 9 10 of clubs would be sick, like super sick. Jack river, gutter ball straight. Okay, I feel like you think I'm gonna call, right? So 40, why? Kind of out there. I'm confusing myself. I was gonna call for sure right away.
Until you went through the analysis and
then
you
I'm
fell
like-
into my brain.
Fell into Phil Locke's brain. Phil Locke's brain. Okay, what do you have? What do you have? What the hell do you have? You don't have 8s, because that would be silly to bet. Why would you bet with an 8? Unless it was a jack of clubs and an 8 of clubs. Oh, that would suck for me so bad. Okay, think. Use what you got left. So like to give this hand to somebody else to make the decision. What do you got, Scott Seaver? Can't figure it out. 9 10 of clubs?
Ace 6 of clubs.
Hang on. Wait, that could be a lie. One sec. It's a lie! Lie, for sure. I know that's a lie. Guaranteed. You just lied to me. Say it again. You have what? Ace 6 of clubs? You have ace 6 of clubs? Is that what you have? Liar. What a liar. So lying. I know it for sure. Oh. It's okay. You were trying to tell me you have a hand that... There, though. If you put me on that... Yeah, I'm folding.
After the rain delay, Daniel folds.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait to see
I
it.
put him on Jack 8.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at ace-king offsuit, pre-flop. This is a very normal 3-way spot that quietly sets up a really interesting river decision. Seaver opens queen-jack offsuit, a perfectly reasonable raise. It is connected and deep stacks reward hands that can make strong but disguised holdings. Negreanu just flats instead of 3-betting, which keeps his range wide and encourages the blinds and button to come along. He is happy to play post-flop with position on Seaver. Galfond over calls ace-9, another standard defend that plays fine in position, especially in a pot that is unlikely to end pre-flop. No one has done anything fancy yet, but the ranges are now nicely overlapped. The triple check makes a lot of sense. Negreanu's check protects his checking range and invites Seaver to keep bluffing on later streets. The turn introduces the heart flush draw. Negreanu still has top pair, but now there are 2 hearts and 2 diamonds out there. The texture is getting wetter, and flush draws have almost materialized. Galfond's 9 is still just a middling pair, while Seaver keeps hoping to draw the gut shot 10 for his straight. This is the moment Negreanu chooses to step on the gas, betting 4,200. It is a very clean value bet that also denies equity from exactly the kind of hand Seaver has and forces Galfond to make a decision with his 9. Galfond's call is very reasonable. He has a second pair with best kicker. Seaver's call is mandatory. He is getting a good price with a strong combo draw and position. The river is a brutal card for both of them and an absolute gem for Negreanu. It improves Negreanu to top 2 pair while completing the front door diamond draw that both callers can easily have. Galfond quietly improves to 2 pair, which looks very strong against a lot of Negreanu's potential bluffs, but still loses to all value. Seaver, on the other hand, bricks everything. When Negreanu fires 15,600, it is a very well-chosen sizing, big enough to credibly represent strong value in a multi-way pot on a nasty river, but not so big that worse-made hands are forced to fold. Galfond's call is understandable. He beats missed diamonds and random floats and blocks some value combos himself.
I was gonna call. Guess I'll let it go now.
Seaver folds.
Ace-king?
That beats me. Just barely.
Barely?
Yeah.
Ace-9?
Yeah.
Daniel wins a pot of nearly 49 grand.
Thank you for saving me
welcome.
17K.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at pocket aces. Pre-flop begins with a clash of titans that escalates from a standard open into a catastrophic leveling war. Joe Hashem, a world champion who knows how to navigate these streets, looks down at pocket tens. It is a strong hand.
Gee, none of us have been all in.
Nope.
Is that right?
Just the cannon.
10s for Hashem.
I just only made it 1,200. Wow.
But vulnerable, so he opens the pot to 3,100 to define his range and thin the field. The action folds to Negreanu in position, and he wakes up with the absolute nuts, pocket aces. Negreanu enters small ball mode, but knows he needs to build the pot now. He puts in a standard 3-bet to 10,000. At this point, the alarm bells should be ringing for Joe, but the dynamic between these two legends complicates the simple math. When the action returns to Hashem, he faces a critical decision point. A flat call here would be the prudent play, keeping Negreanu's range wide and allowing Joe to reevaluate on the flop. Instead,
Raise.
Hashem decides to assert dominance. He 4-bets to 31,000. This is a massive deviation that turns his hand into a bluff. He is trying to represent a monster like kings or aces to force Negreanu off a hand like ace-king or pocket jacks. However, against a player like Negreanu who is capable of trapping, this aggression merely isolates Hashem against the top of the deck. Negreanu does not hesitate. He doesn't slow play or get cute. He reaches for chips and 5 bets to 91,000, effectively putting Hashem all in. This bet is the nail in the coffin. It collapses Hashem's fold equity to 0. Joe, now realizing he has painted himself into a corner, has priced himself in.
Kind of glad it's not a quick all in. Right?
Yeah, that's good news.
I'm all in.
Joe shoves. Daniel calls.
You got aces? Yeah, I got 10s. Twice is good.
Yeah, twice is good.
I couldn't fold it.
No, I don't think so.
I couldn't fold it.
The first flop.
Boom.
A 10.
Like that one.
Good thing I ran it twice.
Save the 4th 10 for the second board, please.
The turn, 6 of diamonds.
Give me another 10 if you're going to do anything. Okay? Seriously.
She's gonna do something.
If you don't give me an ace, just give him a 10. I can't handle losing these twice. It'll hurt really bad. That'll bother me.
The river, 6 of hearts.
All right, thank you. That's
wait, there's one
oh,
more.
we're running it twice?
Yes.
The second flop,
Ooh,
I thought that was
clubs.
a 10. I don't know why.
Clubs and there's backdoor everything
It's
here.
not fair if I beat you this hand, seriously.
the turn,
Ooh!
Big time sweat.
I mean, that's
Oh, God.
a decent sized sweat as well.
That's a pretty good sweat.
I don't know if anyone else goes through this.
Daniel holds.
I'm so I got aces. I'm so happy to not go broke.
There's the 9 of clubs. There's the 9 of clubs.
Come on. Daniel losing both of those is good for the game.
One more
Yeah,
card.
great for the game.
One more card? Come on. Look at one more card.
Thank you.
Never been so excited about getting half my money with aces against 10s.
Phil Hellmuth opens to 800 with King 10 offsuit, the kind of loose early raise he uses to test the waters and try to play pots post-flop. Negreanu immediately leans on it, re-raising to 3,600. With 6-2 suited, this is not about raw card strength. It is about punishing Phil's wide open, isolating the weakest range at the table, and taking the betting lead in position.
Who lost the last pot?
Doyle Brunson cold calls with pocket jacks, a classic trap that keeps worse hands in and avoids turning his medium-high pair into a bluff catcher against a 4-bet. Getting the price and curious to navigate post-flop, Phil comes along. That is a very Negreanu result. His pre-flop 3-bet range contains plenty of big queens, overpairs, and high card backdoors, so checking back keeps his range wide and ambiguous while realizing equity with his suited wheel trash. It also invites Phil to fire turns from out of position and forces Doyle to reveal how comfortable he is with jacks on a coordinated board. When Negreanu declines to c-bet, he preserves the option to attack later streets if either opponent betrays weakness with sizing or timing. The turn is the 4 of spades, a deceptively important card. It adds real backdoor flush pressure while also nudging straight grids like 3-6 into view. Phil leads 7,000 into about 19,000, a classic mid-sizing that tries to win the pot before the board becomes scarier. Against Daniel, that size usually reads as one pair or air rather than a queen or better that wants protection and volume. Daniel just calls. He is not chasing, he is keeping Phil's bluffs alive, protecting his own strong hands that would play this way, slow-played queens and some spade floats, and setting up maximum leverage on rivers that amp up the story. Doyle, now sandwiched in hating life with jacks, lets it go. The river is the 2 of spades, completing the backdoor spade flush and putting 4 to a wheel in the picture. It is a nightmare card for capped 1-pair holdings. Phil drops a 6,000 block bet, a telltale sizing that asks for a cheap showdown and implicitly admits he does not love his hand. Daniel pounces and raises to 46,000. What does he represent? From Phil's seat, it is coherent for Daniel to have exactly the hands his line preserved, 2 spades that checked flop multi-way, called the turn lead, and now raise for value, or a slow-played queen with a spade that upgrades from bluff catcher to thin value on a bet-blocked river.
Speech time.
It's gotta come.
He might have like 6-9 offsuit. It's Daniel. Good bet.
and Phil lays it down.
Finally got there. It took a while, but
6-9.
I had you.
He nailed it. Look at that. That's sick. That's not gonna look good on TV.
Yeah, whatever that is, it's not gonna look good.
That's gonna be bad for a profile, unfortunately.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on Jack 9 suited. He opens to $3,000 on the button, a classic small ball steal that also invites dominated jacks and queens to continue. Doyle Brunson flat calls in the small blind with Queen Jack suited, a smooth defend that keeps Negreanu's range wide and retains post-flop maneuverability.
Well, that's a lot of money out there, baby. A lot of money out there.
Go and get you some.
Troy Wiggins completes in the big blind with pocket 4s for set value, and the stage is set. Brunson, holding top pair with a strong kicker, declines to bet into 2 players on a coordinated texture because checking keeps Negreanu's bluffs alive and avoids building a pot where he could be outkicked or check raised by club draws. The paired board reduces semi-bluffs, and Doyle seizes the lead for $8,000. From his seat, Negreanu's flop check capped him toward medium strength and draws, so Doyle's stab is designed to extract from worse jacks and to tax the clubs and queen-10 tight gutters. Negreanu calls rather than raise. The flat keeps the pot manageable against a range that still contains ace-jack or king-jack, keeps Doyle's bluffs and thin-value hands firing, and leverages position to make the final decision with maximum information. This river is a sneaky upgrade for Negreanu to 2-pair, while a large chunk of Doyle's range remains 1 pair of jacks. Doyle checks, signaling showdown mode rather than a polarized line. Negreanu now turns the knobs. His hand cleanly targets queen-jack and king-jack, while very rarely running into a slow-played full house on this sequence.
Biggest hand I've had.
Quick call.
Got Jack 9.
Tough river card for the legend. Doyle Brunson running very salty tonight.
Daniel Negreanu is holding ace-10 suited. Pre-flop is all ego and leverage. Tony G opens small Houston flats, and Negreanu snaps on the squeeze to 7K.
Well, if at first you don't succeed,
You must.
you make it 7,000.
Perfect against 2 wide ranges. Tony G knows Houston's call is weak money and fires back to 24K with pocket 8s, classic isolation, and dare 4-bet. Negreanu takes the button, keeps Tony's bluffs in, and controls the pot. That flat says, I'll outplay you post-flop, keep the range wide. Flop comes rainbow, Negreanu's dream in a 4-bet pot, top pair, ace kicker, clean texture.
I'm all in.
Tony shoves.
Who cares? I guess you got, what do you have, kings now?
I'm committed again.
No, I know you are. Okay, you can show me one if you want.
Even if you gave me $1 million, I wouldn't show you.
$1 million? Oh boy, Tony G. I guess I should. You're a nice guy. You do good things with your money, right?
I do.
You do? All right, I'll give you some more, I guess. All right.
Daniel calls.
You have kings or something?
No, one time. No.
Jack of clubs on the turn.
Oh my God, did that make him more outs? Yeah. I just realized. Oh God, I was like, oh Jack, that's a good card.
The river. The king of hearts.
It's a scary one.
Negreanu is holding pocket 5s and he's raising to 95,000. He's up against the legends Tom Dwan with pocket 9s and Phil Ivey with pocket 10s.
Over to Tom Dwan.
That's not a hand Dwan would fold, not against Daniel, and definitely not in a $250,000 buy-in. Tom looks like he's thinking, I'm pretty sure he shouldn't flat and trap, but rather crank up the pressure early.
Dwan has just made a call with pocket 9s. Perhaps at another time he might have raised. Oh, check this out. Phil Ivey's picked up pocket 10s.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised.
Just called.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by the flat call from Phil. It's usually a spot where you'd like to squeeze, especially the fact that he's on the button. It's going to look pretty fishy and quite possibly have someone play back at him.
Ike Haxton folds.
The flop comes 3 queen 6, 2 spades. Negreanu opened with pocket 5s, whiffed the flop completely, and now he's first to act on this board, with Dwan and Ivey behind him, who are not exactly known for playing nice when they smell weakness.
Misses all of them. A check from Daniel. This will be interesting.
I don't think any of the three of them are going to be too thrilled with that flop, to be honest. Queen's certainly in the calling range of Tom and Phil. Hands like King Queen, Ace Queen. I expect Phil will just check this back as well.
Phil does. We'll see a turn.
The turn is the 4 of clubs, and things are starting to line up for some sneaky draws. No one took a stab on the flop, which means this pot's still up for grabs, and Negreanu knows it.
And given the fact that he was a pre-flop aggressor, both players have checked back the flop.
He does take a stab.
Dwan isn't just thinking about his cards. He's scanning Daniel and Phil like he's picking up frequencies. These guys are playing poker on a different level. Every glance, every pause, every chip toss. There's a language here only the elite understand, and Dwan is fluent.
I think Tom is more than happy to peel one here with 9s. He's got to assume that Daniel's going to bet a queen on the flop there.
Well, he's got his eye on both Daniel and Phil, looking at across the table to both players, and he smooth calls here. So round to Phil Ivey, and this is a tough spot.
Even though he does have the best hand, it's probably correct to fold.
Yeah, well, Phil Ivey kind of stuck there. Tom Dwan now eyes only on Daniel Negreanu, and the river's a 2 of hearts.
And Daniel gets there.
Oh, Daniel checking. He's going to try and trap him. And look at this, it might work. Dwan reaching for chips. Oh, wow, Tom Dwan checks. Daniel not happy.
I don't bet my friends, you know? I don't bet my friends.
Wow, Dwan's really relieved.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 10-7 offsuit. But Seaver has raised to $1,300 with pocket fives, and Hashem has called with Jack 10 suited.
Uh-oh, this is Daniel's favorite hand, and it's actually gotten him into trouble in the big game before.
Re-raises on the button to 5,200.
He knows Seaver's range is wide and Hashem's flat is vulnerable. Even though it's his favorite hand, he's trying to play the players, not the cards. This raise is about letting them know that he's going to give them a hard time this hand if they decide to play along.
Scott Seaver is really hoping Daniel has an overpair so that he has the right implied odds to make this call.
Hashem folded, so heads up to the flop. King, deuce, queen. Seaver checks the best hand.
Negreanu knows Seaver could easily have king queen here after raising and then calling Daniel's re-raise pre-flop. But why would he check? Daniel smells weakness, and that's usually when he gets curious.
He reps, betting 6,200.
Looks like Scott's gonna peel.
He calls.
Hashem wants his cards back.
6 of spades on the turn. Seaver checks.
Daniel still got just 10 high. This is one of the dangers of having a favorite hand.
Daniel does not look like he's about to check. After just calling the flop and checking the turn, Negreanu is probably putting Seaver on a draw or the weak pocket pair he does indeed have. He's thinking, if I apply the right pressure now, Seaver might just fold and give me all the money.
Daniel does fire that third barrel, making it 14,200 to go.
I could justify Scott's call on the flop, thinking maybe Daniel would shut down after one bet, but Daniel certainly hasn't shut down.
Seaver keeps it going. He calls.
Seaver's totally stationing Negreanu.
You mean like a calling station?
Exactly.
4 clubs on the river. Seaver checks.
Sick.
Daniel fires 36,000.
Seaver is capped, checked every street, and never repped strength. Daniel has nothing, but he knows Seaver is weak enough to fold. This is a masterclass.
Folds the winner.
Phew-wee. He had me staring. I had my favorite hand. You know what that is?
10-7?
7 of diamonds and 10 of clubs specifically. Can't believe I got away with a bluff.
Negreanu is looking down on pocket deuces. Luca opens to 30K with pocket nines, a bread and butter early raise that covers a wide band of low and middling boards and pressures the offsuit broadways behind him. The hand wants callers who show up with overcards and then miss. It also doesn't mind playing smaller pots where it can value bet cleanly across safe runouts. Negreanu flat calls with pocket deuces. Small pairs love this configuration. He has position to control price. Stacks are deep enough to realize implied odds, and keeping it single raise preserves all the set and wheel runouts that print against one pair. Turning deuces into a 3-bet would just funnel Luca into strong overpairs and invite a 4-bet. Calling keeps the deck wide and the story flexible. The flop comes low and connected, exactly the texture where the caller can credibly have all the sets and the occasional 4-2 or 6-5. Luca makes the routine range C-bet for 28K. On this board, the small size folds out pure air, taxes random overcards like ace-queen, and keeps worse-made hands honest without bloating the pot or polarizing his range. Negreanu's raised to 95K. From this configuration is perfectly believable. He's repping sets, 2 pair like 6-5 suited, and some straights. With deuces, he isn't spinning it. He holds a live gutter to the wheel plus 2 cleanouts to a set, so he's applying pressure with real equity while seizing the narrative. The sizing forces overpairs and top pairs to define themselves now, rather than getting a cheap turn that could punish them. Luca's call protects his overpairs and some slow plays, but it also hands tempo to Negreanu and nudges Luca toward a bluff-catch posture on a lot of turns. He's inviting Negreanu to keep telling the story and hoping to catch him on a bad card. The turn pairs the 3 and Luca checks. It's a tricky card for both players. It slightly trims the number of set combos. Negreanu repped on the flop, while making overpairs feel a touch safer against bluffs and draws. Negreanu checks back. That's the disciplined pivot. Firing again would polarize on a card that dulls his set story and invites stubborn calls from exactly the hands he wants to move on the river. The river is the 8 of clubs, and Luca checks a 3rd time. After flop pressure and turn control, that 3rd check leaves his range heavy on single pair hands that hate facing a big ask.
Daniel bets ridiculously big, 400K. Wow. And Luca folds. That was not the bet he was trying to induce. Daniel's reputation earns him a win there. Bluffs like that from him are few and far between.
Set. We have a straddle.
Okay.
What's this?
This is $28.
$28?
$28.
Pre-flop, this is Negreanu's dream scenario. Pocket aces on a loose table and Viffer in the blinds doing Viffer things.
If you check, I'm going to bet this one. I'm going to Barry G it.
All right. I don't want to check then.
Oh, I'm going to probably raise you.
The flop comes aboard that quietly does both players a favor.
That's not even a check. That's like just a waste of space.
Viffer hits bottom pair with backdoor spades, just enough to feel involved, while Negreanu's aces are still comfortably ahead of all the random one-pair and draw-heavy holdings Viffer can show up with.
How much is that?
54.
That pre-flop 400 is already out there, and now Negreanu bumps it to 5,400, essentially saying, if your dark action meant anything, prove it. The turn brings a real problem card for Negreanu. Viffer now picks up a live flush draw on top of his pair, and the board suddenly connects with a lot of the speculative stuff he can have. Negreanu makes it 12,400, a disciplined value bet that also charges all those new draws. Viffer now springs the real pressure.
Why do you always raise me?
You're not really betting. That's not really a bet.
Bumping it to 41,400. That raise is doing two things. With his actual hand, it is semi-bluffing for maximum equity realization, and in terms of image, it is telling Negreanu, I'm not just clicking buttons, I can absolutely have two pair, a set, or a strong combo draw. Folding aces to this guy on this card feels painful.
Interesting card coming.
And with position and stack behind, Negreanu decides to call and take a river.
Oh my God. What are you doing, Viffer? He's mashing my brain into bits.
Missed spades stay missed. 7 to 8 gets there, but is only one of many possible draws.
Oh boy. I really wish you would have bet like 50 or 60,000. Oh, this is gonna be so pansy-like. I'm the biggest pansy of all time. I'm such a chicken, only because you're so creative and tricky and all this funky stuff. You could actually bet 400, hope I make a legit raise, and then just boom, blow me off the hand. And I'm too scared of that. Just flat out, fear. This is just a fear call.
He calls.
That means this will make the highlight reels.
What do you got?
Nothing, of course.
Oh, good. That's good for me. I almost folded, I swear. I really did.
Have a 3.
I almost folded, I absolutely swear. I mean, not on the river, but...
Daniel Negreanu is holding on Queen 10 suited. Pre-flop, this looks completely standard on the surface, but the seeds of the later pain are already there. Negreanu opens Queen 10 suited from early, the kind of hand he loves, connected, plays well, multi-way, and can make disguised big hands. Dimjan flatting in position keeps his entire range wide, medium pairs, suited broadways, suited connectors, some traps. Then the big blind comes along as well. What that means strategically is simple. By the time they see a flop, there are 3 ranges involved, and Negreanu is the only one who has really capped nothing. He is the pre-flop aggressor. He has all the big pairs. He has the strongest broadways. The flop comes down absolutely dreamlike for Negreanu. 10 Jack Queen. Top 2 pair, a board that slams his perceived range as the raiser. But it is also an insanely dangerous texture. Every random hand with an open-ender or a gut shot suddenly has a reason to stay. When Jacobson checks, Negreanu does exactly what you expect from someone who just smashed this board and knows he smashes it range-wise too. He bets 22,000. The sizing is important. It is not tiny stab sizing. It is a, this pot is about to get big sizing. Dimjan just calls. That call is the first warning sign. He is not afraid of the story Negreanu is telling. The turn bricks off with the 3 of spades. From Negreanu's point of view, that is one of the safest cards in the deck. It does not complete any obvious draw. It does not pair the board. It does not change who is supposed to own this texture. So he does what good players do when nothing changes, and they already had a huge value hand. He keeps telling the same story and increases the pressure, betting 55,000. This is Negreanu effectively saying, if you were floating or gambling with some weak draw on the flop, this is your exit. If you continue now, you are representing something serious. The river brings the deuce of clubs, another nothing card in terms of raw texture. From Negreanu's seat, it is almost the perfect river. Straights are still the same straights, sets are still the same sets, and there are no obvious busted draws that suddenly got there. He still has top 2 pair on a board where he is supposed to have all the strong top-end value, so he fires again, 90,000 this time.
Raise. I had a feeling you were going to do that on the turn. You waited. It was smart. You got me to bet one more time.
Daniel loves calling like Miley Cyrus loves a big foam finger, but I don't think even he can figure out a way to talk himself into this one.
8-9 or something? Doesn't matter.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, ace king. 2 pair. Queen 10. Good hand.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 6-5 offsuit, but he's up against his nemesis of 20 years, Phil Ivey, who's holding King Jack suited. Ivey raises to 75,000. Most players would probably fold in Daniel's spot.
No choice, can't fold it. Gotta see a flop in the big blind.
There's the call. So it's Daniel versus Phil.
Ivey is 64% favorite for now, but the flop comes 8-6-6 and Negreanu hits trips.
I don't see Phil falling for this.
Phil checks too. I don't know how, but he can somehow feel Daniel is strong here.
A king on the turn.
Now I see him falling for it a little.
Negreanu wants Phil second-guessing every assumption. Wants him trapped between is he bluffing and is he setting me up? What looks like hesitation is actually misdirection. This is less about cards, more about control.
Daniel leads. Phil now with top pair.
Even if you think Daniel has a 6, you can't just go folding top pair.
Negreanu's sizing here leaves Ivey about 3.5 to 1 on a call. And with top pair, that's usually a no-brainer. But what Daniel's really doing here is laying the groundwork for the river. He's planting the seed that says, if you call now, you're going to have to call big later. This is psychological compounding. Pressure applied in stages. Daniel is hoping that Phil did indeed hit that king on the turn, and he's going to try to make him sweat like a maniac.
He calls. The river is a jack.
Wow, Daniel is running better than Prefontaine.
Daniel value bets his trips. Phil forced to call with top 2. Nope.
So obvious you have a 6. Got 350.
Trip 6s. Phil shows King Jack for top 2. Daniel's trip 6s take 5.
Good call, good call. Good thing you didn't raise. That was smart. You know what you're doing.
The table is 4-way after Tony G opens, and Viffer, Negreanu, and Scott Seaver all come along. That matters because equities flatten in multi-way pots. Single pair hands lose value while nutted, and draw heavy holdings gain. Tony G's range from early position in this lineup still contains suited connectors.
This is room for everyone to keep improving. I mean, the way you guys all play, there's certainly tons of room.
Yeah.
Scott calls.
I'm going to go with an old Hellmuth trick. Watch this, gentlemen. Check in the dark. How do you fade that? Seriously. Check in the dark. I don't even want to see what's coming.
Checking through is revealing. On this texture, the pre-flop raiser has a lot of one pair and gut shot combinations that dislike being raised by 3 players.
See how that worked? Because if I wouldn't have done that, they would have been more scared. My turn, right?
Daniel's still open-ended.
Did you qualify?
Yes. I've qualified pretty comfortably at this point. Question is, how much do I want to put in there?
You checked.
No, I'm not. I'm not, for sure.
You're not checking?
Yeah. If you're folding any bet, you can just do that now. I'm going to put in...
The turn is the 7 of spades, a huge card for Tony G's side of the range, and a bad one for capped checkbacks. Negreanu leads $3,600 into the field, a small sizing that targets folds from the Broadway airballs, and denies equity to Queen 9, 9-8, and the club draws. Scott's call with Queen Jack keeps dominated queens in, but the raise from Tony G to $14,000 is the pivotal data point. After a street of passivity, that raise is heavily weighted to value.
If I win the pot, I'll give you your money back.
Negreanu's call with King-Queen looks ambitious only if you ignore blocker logic. He removes the queen that completes Tony G's higher straight and retains outs to the ace or 9 to make his own. Scott correctly recognizes he's in kicker jail and releases.
Wow, that was a big sweat.
Took a long time. That speech really got him.
He made a big laydown just now.
The river is the 9 of diamonds. Range-wise, it's a dagger for Tony G. His made straight from the turn remains a straight, but Negreanu's king-queen now upgrades to the higher straight. When Negreanu fires $35,000, the story is polarized between exactly that high straight and bluffs that bricked clubs or random Queen X that tried to push Tony G off a one-pair hand.
Are you also offering my 4,800 back if you...
Tony calls and Daniel wins a $100,000 pot.
I had the nuts on the turn. Wow, well done.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 10-9 suited.
Who lost the last one?
Me, that'd be me. Steaming.
Boom.
This hand sits in the suited connector bucket that plays well. Versus a 3-bet, it has equity versus broadways, realizes well in position, and can call profitably against most small blind ranges.
Such a good spot.
Oh, him again. Him and his spots again.
Except you have to act first.
Oh, yeah.
Veldhouse re-raises to $7,000 from the small blind. That sizing represents a fairly standard linear small blind 3-bet, strong aces, broadways, and some pocket pairs. When Negreanu calls, his range keeps most suited connectors, suited broadways, medium pairs, and a few slow plays. Importantly, he retains position and stack to pot depth for post-flop maneuvering. Texture advantage is mixed. The small blind has all over pairs and more ace-10 offsuit. The caller has more 4s and 10x suited. Veldhouse continuation bets 11,500 with ace-queen of diamonds.
I love the 6 spot speech. That was the best part of this hand. Fun. 11. Huh?
That's a good level, huh?
It was good. 6 spot. Boom, raise, da-da-da.
That bet targets folds from unpaired high cards and protects overpairs, while keeping bluffs like 2 overcards with backdoors. Negreanu's call with top pair and excellent runout potential keeps his range uncapped. From Veldhouse's seat, once called, Negreanu's range condenses around 4s, 10s, pocket pairs like jacks through 7s, and sticky backdoors. This is a pivotal card, because trips remain the nuts, and gives Negreanu a valuable backdoor flush draw. Check-check makes sense for both. Veldhouse's ace-queen has little fold equity versus 4s and 10s, and hates getting check-raised. Negreanu's check protects his flop call range, keeps bluffs in, and realizes 2 clean ways to improve, clubs and 9. Negreanu improves to 2-pair, 10s and 9s, while Veldhouse remains with ace-high. From a range view, the river shifts blocker dynamics. Negreanu's line contains more 9x, while Veldhouse remains with ace-high.
I'm all in.
So you're saying I made a good check on the turn? Is that what you're claiming? Such level. I mean, you know more about my game than anyone, so is that enough to make the difference for me? I would have felt better if I just bet the turn, you raised, and then I called. That would have been more fun. Fire on the river. Are you hoping that I'm going to play good here? I'm so confused.
Daniel calls, and for a change, sees some good news at Showdown.
9,000.
Well, that was clear.
Screw this up.
Pre-flop, this is Negreanu doing what Negreanu does. He looks down at pocket 8s and does not overcomplicate it. He raises to 9,000, the classic, let's thin the field and play a pot in position or heads up. Dimjan on the button chooses the flat. That call is him saying, I want to see 3 cards against the pro and keep my range wide. The flop is one of those dream spots for Negreanu. He flops set on a board that absolutely slams his perceived range. When he continues for 16,000, the bet is doing a lot of work. It looks like a standard continuation bet with ace-king, king-queen, or even pure spade draws, so it keeps Jacobson's floats and Dimjan's entire Broadway region interested. This is where Negreanu turns the screws. He fires 45,000 into a pot that has already grown large, and that sizing is intentional. It says, I still like my story, and if you were floating me with 1 pair or a draw, the price just went up. From his seat, there is no reason to slow down. Worse kings will still call. Combo draws will convince themselves they are priced in, and any hand like queens or jacks is hating life, but may still pay.
Ace jack.
Oh, sure, ain't nothing. I have 3/8. I want you to go, ugh. All in.
The queen, the straight.
Jennifer Tilly is looking down on 8-6 suited. Negreanu opens with ace-2 offsuit. That is a light but purposeful steal, using the ace as a blocker to reduce the chance he runs into a premium and leaning on position to realize whatever equity shows up later. Tilly answers with a re-raise. That choice is great against a suspected wide open because suited connectors play cleanly post-flop, deny cheap realization to the opener, and set her up to attack a player who loves to take flops.
It's a little too small, Jen. Phil Locke is going to be upset with you after that raise size because it's too small.
Last time I took advice from you, I lost the tournament.
Sorry.
Negreanu calls rather than 4-betting. He keeps her range wide, carries the positional advantage into a pot that is not yet bloated, and quietly pockets the option to turn later cards into leverage, even when he misses.
Okay, now I'm going to do the dunk bet.
It's not a donk bet because you were the pre-flop raiser.
Oh, okay, it's not a donk bet.
It's a continuation bet.
A continuation bet.
Tilly follows through for a small c-bet. The sizing stresses floats and gut shots and keeps her range comfortably uncapped.
A lot of bad cards come off, and then I can just bluff raise the turn or something stupid like that.
You could.
Turn a pair into a bluff. I'm really good at that. It's one of my big things Bill Reynolds taught me.
Negreanu does not have value, but he does have a plan. He calls to float, buying one more card and preserving the initiative advantage that comes from acting last. If she slows on the turn, he gets to tell the next chapter. If she barrels big, he can release cheaply and move on. The texture inches toward the middling wheelish territory that favors the caller. Tilly checks. That single check compresses her range away from very strong overpairs and toward one-pair hands and draws that prefer pot control. Negreanu seizes the mic with a bet. The number is not huge, but the message is loud. He denies a free card to overcards, pressures hands like ace-queen and king-jack that c-bet once, and begins building a story that can arrive at straights and two-pair by the river. His literal hand did not improve, however his distribution did, because the cards he credibly represent improved. Calling the flop to take it away on the turn is classic small ball pressure, and he executes it cleanly. This is the card that ties the room together, and the run-out connects squarely with the very suited connectors that defend 3-bet pots from the blinds. Tilly leads small. That type of sizing often functions as a blocker, a way to name a price with a hand that does not want to face a pot-sized bomb. To Negreanu, that looks like a door left slightly open. He chooses to kick it in and chips. The shove polarizes him to the straights and strong two-pair he has been representing since the turn.
We probably have the same hand. Oh, so sick. You have 9-jack, right?
Would that be the same hand as you have? Because if you did have that and you didn't call by now, it would be a little bizarre.
You're in Jennifer Tilly's seat. You have the straight. Negreanu shoves over your small lead. What's your move, snap call, or an impossible fold? And why in one sentence? Best clear answer gets pinned.
Oh, God.
Oh, you have a 6? Have you raised me with a 6 out of position?
No.
That's crazy talk.
Tilly folds.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on ace-9 offsuit. Negreanu clocks the dynamic immediately. Wiggins is the table's loose cannon, splashing around, loving post-flop control, and hating big, uncomfortable decisions. Negreanu's plan is simple. Lean on that psychology and the betting patterns it produces. Pre-flop, Negreanu opens to $1,600 with ace-9 offsuit, a hand that prints against wide callers and keeps his range uncapped. Lack and Tony G both flat, inviting the very scenario Negreanu wants. A multi-way pot where discipline and range construction matter more than raw cards. Wiggins completes from the big blind with king-queen, already signaling he'd rather see streets than narrow ranges.
Tony G checks.
I'm gonna bet 5,000.
Wiggins does what loose cannons do, fires $5,000 to protect and find out where he is. Negreanu only calls. That flat does 3 things at once. It keeps Lack in a dominated, second-best world. If he sticks around, it conceals bluffs and value under the same hood, and it sets a trap for the sizing tells Wiggins tends to give on later streets. Lack gets out of the way, and we go heads up. The turn is the 5 of clubs.
I respect you as equal as I respect Doyle, man. Because you're not slacking up on me at all. You really gonna make sure that, you know what I'm saying, you making sure I wear my stripes on this table.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
A total brick for the main draws. Watch the bet sizing. Wiggins downgrades to a $2,500 blocker. That's the cap Negreanu was waiting for. Into 17,400. A tiny stab screams one-pair pot control, not a hand eager to face heat. Negreanu raises to $12,500.
You beat me in the pot right there.
So
he's leveraging position, fold equity, and his ace blocker. He makes it harder for the loose cannon to have the very hands that could comfortably 3-bet. The call, not a re-raise, confirms the cap. The river pairs the jack with the jack of hearts, killing some 2-pair combos and leaving most draws bricked. Wiggins checks, and Negreanu goes for the throat with $35,000.
Oh, man, you really try to pull the trigger there, didn't you, man? Caught the jack, didn't you? Caught the jack. You had it the whole time, didn't you?
No comment.
Too late, you already nodded your head yes. I
Say
fold.
what?
I fold. You nodded your head yes, real quick. Or what?
Kid.
Too fast for me.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on Queen 3 offsuit. He opens to $4,000 after folds.
I like this.
That raise comes from a range that includes most suited queens and bluffs that keep him wide versus 2 sticky callers. Kenny's flat call is very playable if he expects the opener to fire too often and the blinds to continue light. Solomon closes the action. This paired low board heavily favors the pre-flop raiser's C-bet strategy. Negreanu owns the overpairs and all the hands that can bet small. Kenny's check call range is condensed, ace high, mid pairs, and some slow-played overpairs. Negreanu's bet is the modern range-wide stab. It denies equity from 2 overcards and keeps his value and bluff buckets indistinguishable. Kenny calls, which already caps him away from many check-raise value hands. Texture changes a little. 7-6 and 6-3 improve to straights, and Solomon's backdoor 8x would have picked up top pair, but he's gone. For the 2 players left, Negreanu still retains a nut advantage portfolio of overpairs, plus the occasional 5x suited. His bluffs pick up backdoors only rarely, so he leans on fold equity. 16,000 pressures, exactly what Kenny showed on the flop, ace high and pocket pairs under 10s. Kenny's call again narrows him to ace queen and ace king high, pocket 6s through 9s, and a few traps. Crucially, he almost never has trips or a turned 8 that wants to raise, so his range remains capped. When Kenny checks a third time, his range is now mostly ace-high and middling pairs, hoping to get to showdown. He has very few slow-played monsters after declining to raise earlier streets on such a safe runout. Negreanu fires a polarized, overbet adjacent sizing. What does he represent? Overpairs that bet all 3 streets, and the thin value of a 5x that never feared a raise. What does he target? Exactly ace-queen, ace-king, and pocket 7s through 9s.
Kenny folds.
That's one of those, right, Phil?
That was fun to watch.
Let's see it then.
You want to see it? You don't want to see it. It'll tilt you, for sure.
Let's see.
I want to see it then.
You guys really want to see? Make the game better? All right, show one for the boys.
Daniel Negreanu is holding pocket aces, pre-flop.
The vibe of the people.
No, just the way the country's structured because of it's a Commonwealth as well. It's a Commonwealth country.
Okay, like, yeah, in those
It used
regards.
to be a British colony, so the legal systems are very similar.
Hashem and Viffer call.
Canada and Australia very similar.
Very similar.
We have so many things in common.
Both share a mutual love of Paul Hogan and Jim Carrey.
The corruption is very low.
Pre-flop. This is a classic straddle pot goes wrong for the caller setup. 3 players limp into Negreanu's live straddle, and when the action gets back to him, he wakes up with aces. From his point of view, this is perfect. The pot is already juiced, ranges are capped and weak, and he can punish all the limpers in one move. He bumps it to 5,000, which is a big sizing, but exactly what you won with the premium out of the straddle. Fold out the absolute trash, isolate 1 or 2 players, and build a pot where your strong overpair can get paid.
Look at that. We lost Viffer and Tony G.
Hashem peels with pocket 4s, and that call already tells you a lot.
I didn't think we'd get that many out. Thought we'd have a family.
He is not calling to see what happens. With a random hand, small pairs in position against a very aggressive Negreanu are there to try to flop a set or use Negreanu's image against him on low coordinated boards. The flop comes structurally much better for Negreanu than for Hashem. All the overpairs and big Broadway hands live in Negreanu's range. Hashem has a lot more small pairs and suited connectors that either whiff or pick up thin draws. The turn is the 10 of spades, which changes the texture far more for Hashem than for Negreanu. A lot of Negreanu's one-barrel bluffs pick up equity here. Hands like Queen Jack in the front door spade draw is now very real. Instead of double-barreling, though, Negreanu checks. That check is sophisticated. With aces, he does not block any of the flushes, and this card massively improves Hashem's ability to represent something big if more money goes in. Negreanu now slides out 12,500, a river bet that is more about clean value and pressure than thin hope. He knows Hashem's range is capped after the turn check, made up of exactly the sort of mid-pair and showdown-hungry hands that hate facing one more bet.
You're going to be 1-all after this hand? You have to show me if you're bluffing, right?
Hashem folds.
Come on. I showed you.
Showed the ace. One of them.
That'll do.
That was good?
No. That wasn't good. But...
That was like the same as not showing.
Daniel Negreanu was looking down on pocket sevens. Pre-flop. This is one of those old-school tension spots where everyone at the table knows something big is brewing before the cards even hit the felt. Helmuth opens to 900 with whatever he has,
Go on, Phil.
doing his usual, I'm supposed to win every pot routine. That small raise size in a deep cash game invites action, and Negreanu obliges by re-raising to 3,200 with pocket sevens. For Negreanu, this is a classic squeeze hand. He is on the lighter end of a value range, but against Phil's wide open and the dead money in the middle, sevens play nicely as a pressure tool, strong enough to call a 4-bet if it is small, but also perfect for picking up the pot uncontested a lot of the time. Then Doyle wakes up behind them with pocket jacks and makes it 11,700. That sizing is important. It is big enough to say, I am not messing around, but not so big that it shuts the hand down. From Doyle's point of view, jacks are way too good to just call and risk letting Helmuth or others peel cheap.
Good chance you'll get it all, buddy.
Yeah, I'm thinking that. I'm just counting it up here. You got 80, it's 85 more?
He wants to isolate Negreanu, punish the lighter 3-bet, and take control of the pot with position.
Okay, I'll raise it.
There goes Doyle. He's all in.
Once or twice, Doyle.
It's like one of those days I've...
Daniel calls.
It's up to you.
I'll do twice.
All right.
What is 37-2?
37-2 each? Is that what you got, 37-2?
Are you paired?
Yeah, I'm paired. You're not paired?
Yeah, I am.
Uh-oh, that's bad for me. Okay, I was hoping you had ace-king. All right, put a 7 out there and then a straight.
The flop, 4-queen deuce.
That's a good flop for Doyle.
Ace on the turn.
I just like to double Doyle up. That's what I do. Gets short, I feel bad.
It's a 9.
One for the good guys.
Hey, Doyle, what you always say is always feel good to what?
To win the first one.
Oh, man.
That's the one.
There it is in the door. You got a diamond draw. It's always exciting. I knew I was going to hit at least 1 7.
No diamonds here.
No diamonds? There's like no way.
No, there's no diamonds here, I'm saying.
Diamond or jack's got to count.
It's got to be a diamond for sure. Diamond.
It's not a diamond. It's a 5 of spades.
5 of diamonds.
I took one of them away.
It's more than 22% because there's 5 dead cards right here.
Thanks, Phil. There you go.
There it is.
Boom. Nice hand.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on pocket aces. Pre-flop, this is the classic trap where one player thinks he is peeling light and instead steps right into a vice. Negreanu raises to 450,000. It is a chunky open, and that alone should already scream strength in this spot. George defends with Queen 10 suited. On paper, it is not insane. He has position, a hand that can flop top pair or strong draws, and he probably assumes Negreanu is opening wide. The flop comes 10-3 king with 2 clubs. From George's seat, this is the kind of board that looks playable but is silently dangerous. He has middle pair with queen kicker against a normal open that could be a standard continue, especially in position. Negreanu fires 400,000. That sizing is telling. It is not a tiny range bet. It is a big, old school, I have it continuation. With aces, he is not afraid of building a pot. The turn is the 7 of spades. Negreanu's strong hands are still strong. Kings, aces, ace-king, maybe king-queen all love this card. Very few of Negreanu's bluffs improve in a meaningful way. When Negreanu now moves all in, he is doing exactly what great players do with overpairs in these structures. Shove before the river kills action. He knows that if he just bets small and gets called, any club, queen, jack, or scary river freezes him and lets George realize all of his equity for cheap. By jamming turn into a pot that is already inflated, he puts tremendous pressure on all the middling hands that called flop.
Defaults.
I had you beat. Good cards.
I'm happy with my fold.
Yeah.
It was hard though.
The pot was good. I'm like, I'll take it, but if you call, you call. You have to get there.
Did you have it pre-flop or you hit the king?
I had both. I had what you're supposed to have there. A pair of aces I had. Aces were good, right?
Now let's see how Negreanu pushes his luck to the limit on the very next hand.
All in.
Call.
All in?
Huh?
Call.
Oh, we got one. I'm happy with my hand. I had suited, I had a king. A lot going on there. You move in, I call this time anyway. I was just saying, screw it.
Okay. We need a hat. At least one heart on the flop would be good for Daniel.
George needs the best hand to hold up to survive. The flop has a 5 and a 10 on it.
Oh, we got pairs. He's got pairs. We all got pairs. We all got 3 hearts, 3 diamonds. Pretty close race. 50-50.
Not sure the math there works, but you gotta believe it first, and Daniel really believes it.
The turn card is the 3 of diamonds.
That didn't help me at all. Quite the opposite, frankly.
5 of spades! Daniel wins!
That was lucky.
I just wanted clear that I clearly outplayed you in our all-in pots. Obviously.
Kid Poker is in the final.
All right. Sorry, bro. That was ugly.